Welcome to Matchday Live, and it's City v Chelsea round 3 in our run of 4 fixtures against the Blues. We've already faced them not only in the League Cup final and the UWCL on Wednesday night, we now face them right here at the Etihad in the WSL today, and then back into UWCL action again for the 4th and final time next Thursday. Nick Cushing took control of his first game back in charge for the League Cup final, where City was sadly beaten at Pride Park, but on Wednesday night we saw the return of Champions League football at the Joy Stadium, and a second half brace from Viv Miedemar now gives City the advantage heading into the second leg of the quarterfinals taking place next Thursday. And with that, here is your City starting 11. In goal we have Chiara Keating. Starting at right back, Kirsten Kasperai. How good has she been this season? Very consistent. Gracie Pryor, the youngster, has been stepping into big shoes. Our captain today, Laia Alexandri. And at left back, we have Naomi Lazel. Anchoring our midfield, we have an absolute wizard in Yui Hasegawa. Followed by the Dutch international Jill Roord. And our number 7, Laura Coombs. The front three, Kerolin Nicoli. She was absolutely unbelievable midweek. Returning to the starting 11, Jess Park. And our scorer of 2 goals midweek, Viv Miedemar. Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. Thank you very much for joining us. We are joined by 2 absolute legends. We have Toni Duggan and Jen Beattie, MBE. How are we?
Yeah, good. Excited for the game. 3rd one on the bounce, but 2 top teams, so looking forward to them going head-to-head again today.
Jen, what about you?
All good, yeah, no, I'm happy to be back at the Etihad. It's such a nice feeling to be back in the City mix, so no, I'm excited for it.
You retired earlier on this year. How are you finding it? What have you been up to?
Do you know what? I'm banging into my Pilates. We actually haven't spoken about this yet. Yeah, I'm loving doing the broadcasting stuff. Obviously, nice doing this and catching up with old friends like To. So, but no, trying to do a bit of Pilates, missing the chat, missing being part of a dressing room and being part of a team, but loving this side of stuff. So it's been great.
Do you find catching up a bit easier now on the broadcast side of things than when you're playing against someone?
Oh yeah, for sure. When you're playing against someone, it's so difficult to, you kind of wait till the end of the game and then it's very brief, whereas it's nice on days like this, you get a bit more time to, catch up on the little ones and how all the family is and stuff like that. So it still feels rushed, but no, it's great to see everyone.
I think as well, everyone's journey goes different, doesn't it? So we had a great time at City and back in the day, but then obviously I go to my clubs where I've gone to and Beats goes on her journey, so it's nice coming back together now and, reminiscing and also reflecting and catching up and seeing what we've been up to. So that's the nice part, yeah.
Right, let's look at the team. I'm going to start with the defence. Wahhabi is out for Lazel. What are you thinking about that? Do you think that's a case of just trying to change it up, playing against Chelsea so many times, or what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it's a young defensive backline, don't get me wrong, but I think, Nick, in a short space of time, has probably just been trying to analyse his players as much as possible, and I think it's a huge opportunity for them, for both Pryor and Lazel in that backline. Young players, but so much ahead of them, so it doesn't really get much bigger than playing Chelsea at home at the Etihad, but they're more than capable. I've seen little bits and, strong players.
And changing the goalkeeper as well. Do you think that was a forced change, Toni? Obviously, she's not on. Yamashita's not on the bench. Do you think that was a forced change?
Yeah, I think it's been forced into it. I think under Gareth Taylor there was a few problems because there was a bit of inconsistency in the goalkeeping position. I think 1 minute it was Chiara Keating playing, then it was Yamashita, and the 2 great top keepers. But I think as a back line, Jen will tell you herself, it's so important to have that consistency, and I think that's where the team lacked a little bit. I do think in Nick Cushing's regard, he's been forced into this today, maybe through injury, fatigue, I'm not quite sure. But it's a big chance for Chiara. She's young. She had a tough couple of games back to back against Manchester United and Arsenal. But I hope she can get back to form today because she's going to be needed.
Right, let's go up front. Viv Miedemar, one of your old teammates, and I mean, just a ridiculous player. Let's talk about her last game. Like, the goals are just, we've been oohing and ahhing watching it back. It's like every single time you see it.
I could honestly talk all day about Viv, but both goals were special in their own right. this one for me, when it comes, you know, off the crossbar, it's how reactive she is. But both on her back, on her weak foot, left foot, she's not naturally, but she's just such a natural goal scorer. But the thing about Viv, she does this day in, day out. She would make you feel like the worst defender in the entire world, like day in, day out in training. No, she's world class, deserves that title, and both finishes for me on the night. You know, considering she only played 45 minutes as well, let's not forget about that. Like, and then getting player of the match, being awarded that for 45 minutes is kind of unheard of in women's football. But what a player, and an unbelievable signing that City made for the season.
I mean, she only played 45 minutes, came on at half time, but starting today, how much of an impact will that make for her being able to start the game, sort of thing?
Oh, it's massive, but I think it's also massive for the rest of the team. You want your best players. You know, when you look at that forward line, you want Viv there as a target player. And I just think she's got both sides to it. As a forward myself, I know, like, she's instinctive, but she's also calm. You see in the second goal here, the calmness to just drop that little shoulder. It's only something so subtle, but as a defender, it's so hard to defend against. Let it come across her body and then just basically pass it into that bottom corner. It looks so simple, but I can tell you as a striker, there's so many people that will panic and snatch at that ball, and she's just got both sides to a game, and there's no surprise how well she's doing.
Even tactically in these big games, like, it's no secret. Viv's doing her coaching off the pitch, and she loves the tactical side of stuff. And seeing the big games like that, I've been in countless things where she'll rally the team in and be like, right, we need to change this, we need to change that. And I know she's been building that with Nick already, and I think that's kind of priceless. When you're playing in those big games, it's not going well, you need to change something, you need your big players to step up in those moments, and she's one of them.
Well, she actually said in an interview after the game that when she was on the bench, she was seeing, you know, what scenarios where she could exploit Chelsea. Now, as a young girl, you should be listening to that, because sometimes when I was on the bench, I was a bit upset, sulking or whatever, as you do as a player. But the fact that she's actually sitting there, Nick's probably told her she's coming on a half time. That was obviously pre-planned, but she's actually sitting there trying to look for spaces to exploit against Chelsea. You know, that's top level, and she's come on and done it.
Yeah. I think it's like absolutely wild. I'm watching the goals and I see that first one, and I think, how is she so calm and makes it look so easy? But it's so many things could have gone wrong there. She could have snatched it, it's gone over the bar, and it's like, it came over and I saw it came back off, and I was like, oh, it's Viv, goal, nice. And it's like, that's not an easy finish. Like, that is so like we're spoiled as City fans to see that and do that.
Yeah, I mean, she's just an incredible talent. We were watching that first goal before, and I said to Beattie, I'd probably pull my groin trying to do that. But that's just the quality that she's got. And hopefully more of the same today. I mean, good to see that she's back in from the starting lineup. Hopefully she's not too fatigued, or I don't know whether it was she was getting rested last game through injury or fatigue. But yeah, I mean, excited to see her play today again. Shame Bunny Shaw's injured. I've been looking forward to seeing them play together. I felt like they started to build that partnership a little bit, and unfortunately she's injured. But it'll be interesting also to see when she is back fit how Nick works to implement them both into the team. Because I do like Viv more higher up the pitch, although she is good at creating. But yeah, I mean, another goal today from her would be great.
No, I would just asking for a little thing, just a goal. Laura Coombs back in the starting 11. What does she add to the team?
Energy, first and foremost. I think when you're playing 4 games back to back against the same team, and it can come a little bit monotonous, you know, constantly analysing a different team. But what I love about Coombs is she's always stretching the back line. Whenever you play against her, she's always, you know, I'm always looking up my back shoulder thinking, where's she going to run? Because she's constantly looking to cause chaos in behind. So for me is that, and she's an experienced player as well. She's 34 now, and you know, been at this club a long time, knows exactly what it means to play in the big game. So big player again, and no doubt she'll love this opportunity. That
midfield is very strong. Coombs, Hasegawa, Jill Roord, like that is where games can be won and lost, right?
Hasegawa for me, she and such a vital part in this City team, and especially under Nick Cushing. We seen what Kira Walsh done for us beats when we played under Nick. You know, she was so important. She makes the team tick, that number 6 position, as we will call it. Hasegawa does exactly the same job. She's so calm on the ball, she breaks up play. And I think we see him when she was out of the team through injury, how much the team actually missed her. So she's going to play an important role today.
I think as well, like in the Champions League fixture midweek, City really stepped up to the physicality and pressed Chelsea high up the pitch. And I think Coombsy brings that all day. She she can do in 90 minutes beyond, and also adds a really nice balance to that midfield. What you're talking about, Hasegawa picking up, ball player, Rord as well, loves the ball at her feet, but Coombsy will stretch that, give them more space in the midfield along with winning the physical battle.
Obviously Hasegawa came in when Kira left. You guys both played with Kira. Do you see Hasegawa as almost like the perfect replacement for City? Like, it's been a seamless transition on the pitch, right?
Yeah, I think for me as well, like, I've watched her play for Japan and actually has a lot more of, like, higher up the pitch, presses a little bit higher, but in terms of the City role in that number 6, for me, like, playing with Kira Walsh in front as a 6, as me being a centre-back, was an absolute dream. Like, she had the ability to see passes and execute it, and then I feel like watching Hasegawa now, exact same, almost taking it to another level. Her technical ability is phenomenal, and for, you know, her size and stature, quite a small player, I've never seen her be bullied on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree, yeah, and I think it's been the perfect replacement. As we said, you know, it's so important in the middle of the pitch for the way City want to play, to add that balance, to, you know, give comfort to the back line as well as security. Yeah, I mean, don't ask me to choose between Kira and Hasegawa, but
don't ask me.
Just know that it's a vital position, and shame Kira's not playing today, actually. But yeah, I mean, she's so important to this City team.
It blows my mind. When you watch her, she makes it look so easy. She's always got space, she's always got time, and you think, I could have slotted in there. But then when it's like, you watch her close, you're like, she's so quick.
It's awareness.
Like,
the awareness as well in that position. Yeah, you just appreciate it so much more when you're a player as well. You know, it's the little tiny details, the checks of the shoulder, the pulling off into the space. It's just, yeah, it's a player that, you know, you're born with that, I think, because it's so difficult to learn. Like, you know, you throw me into the 6. I was a forward. Beats was, you played the midfield a little bit, actually, Beats, so you'll actually appreciate it a lot more. I never got put in there because I didn't have that awareness.
I think as a centre-back, though, it was exactly that. It was awareness for a 6, because you had to be comfortable giving them the ball all the time. That's the way City play. Everything is through midfield, back foot receiving in the centre of the pitch. So you had to have someone who was comfortable with the pressure, right? Because everyone's trying to stop the 6 these days. Everyone's trying to stop the, you know, the baller in the midfield of the play that's trying to dictate everything. That's Kira Walsh for Chelsea and it's Hasegawa now for Man City. But 2 top players, and, you know, Kira was an absolute dream to play behind.
There's just so much going on. Like, not only are you dealing with the playing, you've got the shouts, you've got to thinking of your next move. It is absolutely unbelievable. But we'll park that for a moment. We're going to go pitch side to hear from manager Nick Cushing, who is with Sam Cox.
Well, Nick, first of all, back here at the Etihad, how are you feeling ahead of this one today?
Yeah, excited. You know, it's an amazing feeling to be back in the Etihad, and we know the game is going to be difficult, but it's going to be a really competitive game, and you know, we're prepared to go and try and get results today.
As you said, they're expecting a competitive game, the 3rd match of Chelsea in a row. How are you viewing the challenge of this one specifically today?
Well, I think, you know, the 3rd game in 8 days. I think both teams know each other well, although there's a bit of rotation in both teams, which is what I expected. I think Chelsea will be motivated because it was their first loss of the season. I think they'll use it as a game to prepare for the Champions League second leg. But, you know, for us, the 3 points today is the most important thing.
As you say, after Wednesday, a fantastic result in the Champions League. What has the mood been like in camp coming into this one? A big game at the Etihad as well to look forward to.
Yeah, I think the timing was perfect. I think, you know, a real positive feeling to beat, you know, the team that is running away with the league, to get a lead in the first leg of the Champions League, and to win, you know, the game before we come in the Etihad. So for us, there's a positive mood, but, you know, there's a focus there, there's a real determination to put in a performance today.
As you alluded to just then, changes in the team, you've made some changes here yourself, just the thinking behind that one with such a busy schedule.
Yeah, I think some of it was forced and some of it was, you know, I planned some of it. You know, we lost Yama to an injury on Wednesday night, which means Chiara can come in, but she's more than capable to go in and have a good performance. Layla is on the bench through rotation because she's feeling some fatigue. You know, some opportunity for Viv to come back in and play from the start, Laura Coombs to play from the start. So, you know, I'm really confident with the lineup we've picked today.
Yeah, like you say, ultimately opportunities as well for Naomi, Laura, Viv and Chiara to relish today.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's not ideal to get injuries and it's not ideal to have to rotate when you're in form, but, you know, it does breed opportunity. It gives people the chance to play. Everybody's trained really well. The group is really tight and together. So, yeah, a good opportunity for players today to really stake a claim.
And just finally, your first game back in the WSL as well, how much have you sort of missed this competition?
Yeah, you know, it's I have fond memories of, you know, competing against Chelsea in the WSL. This will be no different, right? So I'm excited to be back. I'm glad to be back in our stadium. It's going to be a really good game, and one that I think we're prepared to go and get a result.
The thoughts of Nick Cushing there. You two both played under him. Was you surprised to see him come back?
Yes and no. I think, I mean, I haven't spoken so much since, you know, I left the club, but I think when I see him now, man, it feels like it just fits. You know, he knows this club inside out. He was there even before he worked with the women's team. He was in the academy for so long, so he understands the, you know, the style of play and, you know, how it functions as a club and how to translate that onto the pitch. So I think he's honestly the perfect guy for the job. I think I can't speak highly enough of him as a coach and what I learned playing under him. I think he has this unbelievable ability to get information across to you in a really simple way and really effective, and you understand your role and responsibility going onto a pitch, and I loved that. I loved when coaches could translate things really simply for you to then go out and play. So no, I think he's the perfect man for the job, and honestly, what a difference he's made in a short time. I know I keep saying that, but it's been so refreshing watching this City team in the past week.
Yeah, I can only replicate what Beattie just said, you know, the impact that he had on us, especially I think because we were such a tight-knit group and a family, and we were sort of like a project, and the way Nick come in and the way he gets the detail across to you as a player. Every single week we went onto that pitch full of confidence in what we were going to do, and you could probably have always guessed our starting lineup and how we will play, but teams couldn't stop us, and that was how good Nick was with us, wasn't it? That was, and I think you can see it already in like what Pete said, in such a short, can't get rid of it, such a short space of time. You could see the difference. That looked like Manchester City of old in just 2 games.
What are the differences then? You've said you can see the differences, but if we were to lay them out, like bullet points, what are the big differences that you're seeing in Nick's team, or what he's trying to implement?
I think for me, right, City is known, I'm not sure how you feel too, but City is known for me as being super structured, you know, and we were to an extent, even when we were in the team going back a few years, but I feel like it got overly structured, and now you can see a little bit of freedom coming back to a few of the players, and that for me is the biggest change, because I genuinely felt, especially under playing Nick Cushing, even as a centre back, which is probably like the most like structured position in terms of defensive and shape and organisation, but I still had the freedom to move and get on the ball and create different angles, and he made you feel like you had the confidence to go and do that. And I think, you know, that's what he's done. He's trying to instill confidence in these players again, and so I think you saw the difference even going from the cup final to the Champions League game. Honestly, for me, it was freedom.
Yeah, I think even with Kerolin, I was speaking about it earlier, I think under Gareth Taylor, I just felt like she struggled a little bit. She didn't get as much game time, but when she did, it felt like she's obviously a dribbler and very good 1v1 with the ball at her feet. And I've seen Nick also say in his interview that, you know, that's what she's good at. We want to do it. We are a possession-based team, but you've got to understand individual strengths. And I think that's what I'm excited to see, how Nick brings out the best in these type of players. How do you fit Bunny Shaw and Viv Medema into the team together with their strengths? How are you going to fit them in? And I'm excited to see. Also, Kerolin, I think she'll thrive under him. Like, let her be herself, but how does she fit into the City philosophy?
His 3rd game in charge, his first one back in the WSL. He's been away for a little while. How much has the WSL changed since he was last here?
So that was the one thing I said to him, because I did text him to say, like, congrats on the job, and I was so intrigued to see how much he would view the changes and what it's changed, because it has massively. You now see, I don't think he'll have played at the Etihad.
No.
I'm not sure, don't quote me on it, but I don't.
United, the first derby.
So he definitely wouldn't have played many, right?
Yeah.
But now the amount of consistent games that teams are playing at major stadiums, so going and playing Arsenal away and all these, you know, Stamford Bridge, Emirates across the whole league now, the attendance numbers, it's all gone up. The investment in the team, even the way Man City have probably invested more and gone on, and you know, you talked about it earlier, being part of that movement. It felt like at the time we were the only club that was really pushing to the next level, and City have gone above and beyond now and taken that to even higher levels. So I think he'll have been genuinely blown away by the changes.
Yeah, I think also seeing the quality of the other teams as well and how they've come on, you know, the likes of Brighton, you know, Man United, and how they've improved, because I feel like, I keep going back to our day, but that's obviously when Nick was part of it, but it was obviously Chelsea, City, Arsenal, but that was it. Like the competition wasn't as fierce as it is now, and I think he'll be aware of it, but I think he might be a bit more surprised at the level of the other teams.
I couldn't agree more. I remember a specific meeting where he had us and he'd be like, the league will be won on the head-to-heads at the top. And that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's where he thrives. I think my favourite games, I said in an interview earlier, were against Chelsea, but I think it was because we were so prepared. Nick prepared us to a T, wasn't it? The level of detail that he went to, it was different. You knew we were playing Chelsea that week. It was, I don't know, the preparation was slightly different, and I think Nick thrives off that. Yeah. So it's no surprise to see how well they've done in the past 2 games, although they did lose the cup final, but I thought they were brilliant that day.
Now, a player who has burst onto the scene this year, Lily Murphy, she is not starting today, but I'm sure she's chomping on the bit to get on and make the difference. We sat down with her on the official Man City podcast and spoke to her about her journey.
I started playing when I was really little, so 6 years old. Constantly pecking my dad's head to go play football, because my whole family we all love football.
Played against PSG.
Yeah.
That is a heck of a team to play against.
Yeah, I was really nervous because that was the first time I was involved in a game. But I just wanted to do well, keep the ball, just do things that the manager wants us to do. To train with them every day is it's incredible, and I think I've definitely improved leaps and bounds. Just either watching them, playing with them, it's crazy. And to do it with a good friend of yours, Toni, yeah,
that's something from a film, right? The script writers went crazy for that one.
Yeah, it was so good. Since I joined City, became best friends, so to grow together was special.
Hello and welcome to Matchday Live. If you're just joining us, where have you been? We are joined by 2 absolute legends, Toni Duggan and Jen Beattie, MBE. We're having a good time, eh?
Yeah, you don't need to keep saying MBE.
I'm a bit jealous.
Right, well, we have the Chelsea team for you now, so we'll get that up and we'll whip through the team. In goal, we have Hannah Hampton, and captaining them will be Millie Bright. Lauren James is also in the team. Ashley Lawrence, Vika Cantan, Johanna Reiting Kunyard, Neve Charles, Lucy Bronze, Mika Hamano, Priyan Jean-Francois, and Aggie Beaver-Jones. And there are the subs as well. Was that a little clap on the...
It was, you nailed Jean-Francois, yeah.
I was a bit worried, I'm not going to lie. Let's look at that team. There's a lot of changes there. Is that expected?
Yeah. I think Chelsea have the ability to do that, and I think the pressure is on City this game. City need that Champions League spot. Chelsea can probably afford to drop a few points. Not that they want to, the team's still strong, but they can afford to rest. Look at that bench, the players on that bench, that just shows the strength and depth in Chelsea for me. And I've said it previously in the season, I feel like that's the difference between the 2 sides at the minute. Although City have had a great week and there's been some changes, but City just don't have that strength and depth. So yeah, I mean, hopefully they don't come on and make a difference. Still a strong team, as I said, but interesting to see how it goes.
I do think as well, though, Chelsea were beyond disappointed from getting their first ever loss, right, against City midweek, and Bompastor, the whole narrative behind it was we didn't show up, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, and I think if you had started that midweek game and were then now on the bench, you'd be gutted, right? Yeah. Because the first thing you want to do is get back on the pitch and perform better. So I also think this team's going to come out flying because they're starting players that don't necessarily get the minutes, and of course they've got that bit of a buffer in the league. It's not as massive, and they might have one eye on the Champions League because they don't want to drop out of it. But I think this is a huge opportunity for players for Chelsea that haven't had a lot of minutes this season so far, and I think the girls that have been dropped, I can probably say it like that, to the bench, that they'll be disappointed they're not playing tonight, because the first thing that you want to do after a loss is get back out there.
That was my thinking. One eye on the Champions League. A lot of these players that are coming in who didn't play midweek is I have a good game now and I'm going to be in. I can go on and make the difference and right the wrong, right?
Yeah, I'd say so, but still, listening to all the press conferences and the interviews, they're such a competitive team. So regardless of who they put on the pitch, you know, they're still top internationals playing for their relative countries, so they're playing at a really, really high level. And they have that luxury of being able to rotate so many players and be able to rest players on the bench and it still be a top game for City to play against.
I think for me with Chelsea, I think early on in the season, you know, Sonia Bompastor had injuries, so the team, she did have a strong bench still, but the team kind of picked itself and she was very consistent with the starting 11, and we've seen Chelsea reach great heights. But I think obviously the past week Manchester City have played well, but I've been disappointed in Chelsea. I don't know whether it's since the international break, but the energy levels seem low. I've never seen them misplace so many passes as in the cup final. So this might be the kick that they need to change the team and, like Beat says, you know, get fresh legs out there, create more competition and tell everyone, like, you're fighting for your place in midweek, because the Champions League game is massive for them as a club. They've always stated they want to win it, and at the minute that's not going to happen.
Are you surprised how quickly Bompastor's made her mark on the team almost, like going on from Emma Hayes to Bompastor? There's been a lot of changes. I mean, there's not been a lot of outgoings, but she's brought players in who maybe are her style. Are you surprised how quick that, like, the transitions happened?
No, for me personally, no. I think it's a sign of Emma Hayes that she left the team in a really good place. I don't think, you know, it wasn't, regardless of a new manager, it didn't feel like a rebuild season. And then still made top signings of Lucy Bronze, and then even in the mid-season break, you know, you've got a team investing massively in world record breaker Naomi Gertmer with the biggest contract, and then arguably the best number 6 in the world, Keira Walsh, and again, who was linked to Arsenal for so many years, and then Chelsea got her in the end. And you know, that's a sign of a club that have invested and want to progress. And I, for one, have genuinely loved listening to Bompastor, the way she speaks. And I think, I don't know how you feel, I was always looking forward to a woman, female manager coming into a role who's been there, done it, and won absolutely everything. And she just sounds so competitive. And I genuinely think she's taken this Chelsea team, who are already unbelievably successful, to the next level. To get your first loss, you know, at this point in the season is an unbelievable record, and it is credit to her for what she's done, but also what Chelsea are doing with the investment they've been making. It
shows as well the standard that she expects, because they wanted to go this season unbeaten in all competitions, so they've got the squad to do it. And the fact that the manager's saying that, other people might think it's a bit of arrogance, but I think that's confidence. That's the belief that she has, the mentality that she has. She's the type of manager, when I listen to her speak, that I think, I'd love to play under you. And I think that means a lot as a player. You know, the way we're speaking about how good Nick was when we were at City, I think people from the outside would have liked to play under Nick. Well, I feel like I'm one of them people now, looking at Sonia from the outside, thinking, yeah, I'd like to play under her, with the man management and the way she speaks about her players and the job that she's done so far. And I'm also intrigued to see the reaction from the team after having that first loss, because that is when cracks start to appear. You know, how do players manage it? How does Sonia manage it? So it'll be interesting today to see how it goes.
It's an interesting dynamic. I always think, like, she's won everything as a player, she's won everything she can as a manager. To come in, like, her word's gospel, surely, in the dressing room. Like, you can't be like, oh, maybe. And it's like, no, like, trust me, I've done it. Like, do you feel that? Do you feel like that is the case with certain managers?
Yeah, I personally think that's massive. Of course, you still trust in your manager and trust in your coaching, but I think if you're working under Sonia Bompastor now, and, you know, a multiple Champions League winner, incredibly successful with the national team as well, I think you have no other way but to listen and really absorb every single bit of information she has, not just from a tactical perspective, but a personal perspective as well, of what it feels like to be in certain situations or certain top games and how to manage it. I think Toni touched on it there. I think she's also a mum, and the way that she has talked about the personal side of stuff and managing, we're not just footballers, we're human beings as well, and she's really talked about that in press conferences as well, which I've massively loved, so I think that's huge in the game.
I think also, to reference, I think Aberley is also part of the Chelsea setup, and I think we've seen recently Steph's been added through Nick, but the impact that she can bring, she has a fantastic career herself. You know, more recently retired than Sonia, knows how the culture's different now. It's very different from even just from when we were playing and retired, maybe 2 years ago. It's changed, you know, all the social media, the pressure. So to have someone like Aberley around, the players, helping them, the success that she had and what a player she was, I think it's vital, and hopefully it can be the same for Manchester City, having Steph Houghton around as well.
Was this expected, do you think, the transition going from Emma to Sonia and just like picking up where she left off? Is this what Chelsea do sort of thing? Is this what you expected when they announced that they were bringing in Bompastor?
No, no, naturally you think you're waiting for a manager to kind of fit in. Sometimes it takes time. Same way it is with players, I think. But also the way Beat says, the position that Emma Hayes left the club in was fantastic, and it speaks so highly of the job that she's done. I think she come in and, to work with the players that she's been left with. Any manager will want to step into them shoes. Still doesn't mean that the job's going to be easy. But she was in a very fortunate position. But to still go unbeaten all this time is incredible testament to her.
Right, Toni, I want to talk Soccer Aid. You're playing. Yeah, we'll do one of them. We'll get some of them in. Right. How are you feeling? What was it like when you got the call up?
Oh, I'm buzzing. I actually cannot wait. People keep saying, it'd be nice to play with Jill and Steph and that again. And I'm like, I've played with them. I want to play with like Wayne Rooney and I want to play with, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. Obviously, it's at Old Trafford, fantastic stadium. Some City supporters might not agree, but it's for a great, great charity. So if you can get there and support, the stuff that it does around the world is amazing for young kids. So not just to be, obviously the occasion will be amazing, but it is the amount of money that it raises and the impact on kids' lives. Obviously now as a mum myself, I realise that, we're in such a fortunate position and some kids aren't. So to help raise money for a great charity, but also play with, the fantastic list of endless players, that I'm going to be playing against. I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's
a bit of a Man City affair. We've got David James, yourself, Joe Hart, Steph, Nadia Nadim, Jill Scott, all there. It's a bit of a Man City reunion, right?
Yeah, it is. Should have been at the Etihad.
Do you need anyone else?
Oh yeah, we need another one.
What's the training been like? Are you back in training already, or are you like, I'll be all right?
I'm in the gym, not football training. I'm in the gym. Made a start. I go to Blaze and David Lloyd. No, but I think a few weeks before, obviously I'll be playing five-a-side with the girls, the lads. Just off the cobwebs. I don't fancy just running out at Old Trafford with no training behind me. Obviously, you meet up with the team like 5 days before, so you get a bit of work on the pitch. But I'd like to. I want to put on an all-right performance anyway.
Right, I'm sure it'll be an absolutely fantastic game. But I've got a little game for you to play right here. You two against each other. Squad game, this or that we're going to do. So basically, 2016, the WSL, your title-winning team against the UWCL starting 11 from earlier on in the week. And we're going to go through the teams and you're going to do this and that. And a little bit.
Don't really want to upset anyone.
No, yeah.
Don't worry, they're all playing. They're all playing.
Beats over anyone.
Oh yeah, that's the one when you start arguing about yourselves. Right, we'll start with KB or Yamashita.
KB.
Yeah, KB. All the
I think Why? Let's get a reason.
I still to this day KB was the best communicator ever. I heard her for 90 minutes and just was so intent in what she spoke about. It wasn't just needless stuff. It was always just really key information. And then genuinely every cross that came into the box, KB would lap it up.
It's funny how she sees it from this perspective and then you'll hear my perspective as a defender. Because shooting against her as a shot stopper, she was incredible at presence in goal. So I appreciate that side to her, but obviously I can understand why Beat appreciated her being protected.
Okay, right. Next one. Lucy Bronze or Kirsten Kasperai?
Oh, Kasperai's been brilliant,
She has been very good.
I can't look past Lucy. She's just
neither.
a winner. The mentality, the trophy
monster.
cabinet. I'd have to pick Lucy.
It's very hard to argue at that trophy cabinet. You said it, and it's like, all right, you know what? Fair enough. Okay, Steph or Alexandri?
Oh, this is a tough one for me.
Both captains.
Well, you've played with...
I've played with them both, obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Laia was honestly my favourite player in Spain as a defender. Obviously, I played at Atletico Madrid with her. She was still young at the time. She's still young now. Obviously, that's a really tough... As a ball player, Laia on the ball.
But you've got Steph's set pieces as well.
I know. Steph's experience, Steph's set pieces. I mean... Captain Fantastic.
Is that what you called her? Yeah.
No, but she was good at everything, wasn't she? Scored goals. She was, a key part of our back line. She was the captain. I played with her for so many years at international, at City. I'd have to say probably Steph, yeah.
I'm going Steph,
but Laia's attributes, she is such a talent.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a battle, but we got there.
Yeah,
in the
it
end.
was
I'll
the
take that.
toughest one,
Okay, Jen, yourself or Gracie Pryor?
Oh, you got to back yourself, right?
I mean,
be-
I
I'm
personally would, but
yeah.
I said it from the start, Beattie. I'll pick it up because she's not going to big herself
Because she
up.
sat next to you,
No,
you
but
said
she
it
was
straight
amazing.
away.
She was a key part of our team and she could play different positions. She was versatile. She was just a presence. She was a rocking. I hated playing against her in training because I knew I wouldn't get a sniff. But no, like she was great for our team. So
Okay, left back,
Cheers.
Demi Stokes or Layla Wahhabi? You played with both, right?
Yeah.
I'm struggling to pick anyone outside of
This
our
is me.
back
I
four.
feel like I'm being biased.
I'm going back to Demi again because honestly, that season we won the league, we conceded. Honestly, the amount of clean sheets we had from our defensive record. So I'm going Demi again because our back, obviously, it came from the front as well.
You're like, don't forget that I chose you.
Pressing from the front. But yeah, I'm going Demi.
I think Demi 1v1 is just
I'm going to say Demi
Yeah.
as well.
ridiculous.
But Everton beats it.
Okay, we've already almost had this conversation, but this is a tough one. Kira Walsh or Yuki
Mate,
Hasegawa?
that is. I'm going Walshy again.
I think that's very hard.
Yeah.
I think it's different when you've played with someone though. Like
Yeah,
I
I
really
think
do
so.
appreciate how good Hasegawa is, but
Totally.
I haven't played with her, so you appreciate it differently. So
Yeah.
I have to say Kira. She
I
was
think if you were
incredible.
picking a team and you flipped a coin, you'd be happy either way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
Okay, Battle of the Jills. Jill Rord or Jill Scott?
It's hard when you're mates to them as well.
I feel
Your
like I
phone's like,
wanted-
Yeah, I'm like,
You've
she's
got
like,
Jill. You're like, oh, you're right, how are you? She's like, I saw what you
Jill-
said.
Jill was a grafter though, eh? Like she was the one that broke down every bit of play. It's hard. when
Jill.
you're mates.
I'm saying Jill.
You're saying Jill. I'm gonna end up picking
You've got me on a technicality there, just say Jill. Okay.
Scott, yeah.
Izzy Christiansen or Jess Park?
I do like Jess Park, like.
I like Jess. I prefer her in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
Jess come on loan to Everton actually, and I felt like it was the season she blossomed. She'd done
100%.
brilliant. She carried our team basically. We were struggling at the time, and she's brought that back to Man City. Izzy can't see past that goal. Like, she won us our first trophy
Yeah.
in 2014. I'm going to say Jess.
Yeah, I think I'm going Parksy.
I think
Jess Park.
versatility is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
But, and just technically, like what Toni said, the way she came on after that loan spell and just went to another level.
Okay, here we go. Nikita Paris or Kerolin Nicoli?
Kerolin was unbelievable midweek, I will say.
On the ball, she is.
Yeah, I think
Dancer.
she's going to do so well over these next few games. I'm happy to see her starting again.
Yeah. I think she's incredible talent, but
Yeah.
I can't go past me friends.
Yeah.
She's good
get a little
friends,
time
and
of friends.
we had good
Okay.
success at Everton and England. So yeah.
Okay, next one. Jane Ross or Mary Fowler?
Mary
Fowler,
Fowler.
yeah,
I'm
Mary.
so- oh, yours was quick.
I know, so was yours.
You're an
That's what you
international
gotta be
teammate.
Oh, Rosso.
Mary
Ross
Fowler.
goes-
No, she has been on fire
has,
this year.
yeah.
She has.
And then the final one. Toni, yourself.
Toni all day. Look how quick
Oh,
that
it's one of
was.
him, isn't it?
No, Millie
one
Murphy. She,
Oh, is
the start
it?
of the game, the
I
lineup
just snuck
from
in.
midweek.
If Hembo was fit, I'd be out. I'd put myself out.
So you're going to go with yourself?
No, Toni all day.
Oh, well,
You know what? I'm very much here for backing yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Just a quick team reminder for you. In goal, we have Kiara Keating. Right back, Kirsten Kasparai. Gracie Pryor. Alexandri is our captain. Lazelle, Hasegawa, Rord, Coombs, Kerolin Nicoli, Park, and Miedema. And if you're watching today and you're not here at the Etihad, you can watch on BBC. The kickoff is at 2:30. And don't forget to download the Man City app where you can hear commentary from Nick Walsh and our former goalkeeper, Karen Bardsley. Oh, perfect. And we can hear from her now. She is pitchside with Sam Cox. Buzzing.
Karen, pitch side for a game against Chelsea must feel a little bit like deja vu for yourself.
Yeah, and again, and again, and again. Yeah, no, you know what? Top competition, elite players. City are going to be excited to test themselves against a familiar competitor. But I still think that the thing is, we don't know exactly what Chelsea are going to do. So it provides a different sort of performance problem you need to try and solve. And the exciting thing is I know that Nick will be absolutely buzzing to solve that problem. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Does that almost help the approach for today, not knowing what you're going to get from the same side? We've played twice and then we're playing them again on Thursday.
I think there's an element of excitement for sure. I mean, especially from a spectator's perspective. And as a player's perspective, you're thinking, okay, like the first few minutes are going to be spent feeling it out, you know. So what is my direct opponent trying to do? Are they trying to get the best out of me? How can I get the better of them? And so I think it'll just be a bit of back and forth for the first 5-10 minutes, maybe just trying to figure out where you can play, where you're getting success, what they're trying to do, and how you can stop it and how you can expose them. So that for me, I think, is from a player's perspective what's going to be really exciting.
And with the fixtures coming thick and fast, he's made 4 changes for today. Just your initial reaction to the team news today?
Yeah, there were a few changes. I think we knew that was going to be necessary just with the intensity of the games, and then just saving the legs for, just the importance of what's on the line, obviously today, but then also at the end of next week. It's nice to see Naomi Lizelle getting back into the squad. I think she's a really versatile defender, so she can play centrally or out wide. She's calm and composed on the ball, very intelligent, reads the game really well, so I'm looking forward to seeing how she does. And it's great to see Laura Coombs back in. Obviously, she came in midweek, didn't she?
Yeah.
She's a hard-working midfielder. She's really industrious. I think she gets about the pitch, breaks up play. So it'll be interesting to see, now that she's starting, maybe she'll be able to get a grip of the game a little bit quicker. It takes a while sometimes to get up to the speed of the game. Yeah. As a sub, and get that intensity and rhythm. So I think she'll be happy to see that. And obviously having Viv Miedema start the game as well, it's nice to see. So I think, to be fair, all things considered, we're in a good place.
And Chiara coming in goal, an opportunity for her. How well do you think she'll rise to the challenge today? She's already proven to us before that she can do it.
Yeah, listen, she's a quality keeper, and really, through no fault of her own, the performances haven't been what she kind of hoped they would be, and she's missed out, on some crucial minutes. But I think we know what she's capable of doing, and we know that now this is an opportunity, and I think the doors are open, and all you can do is walk through them and try to make sure that you take the opportunities that are handed to you. And I think she'll be ready for it. It's a massive challenge for her, but we've seen in the past that she can stand up in occasions. But yeah, I think she'll be buzzing to get this game started.
We obviously come in to this game having beaten Chelsea in the week. What sort of Chelsea's team do you think we'll see today? Do you think they'll be itching for reaction, or do you think they'll be maybe have one eye on Thursday with them so sort of clear at the top of the league coming into today?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of changes. I think that it's what we counted about 6 changes in the team. So I think obviously Sonia Bompastor wants a reaction, doesn't she? So she would have said after the game that they were maybe sloppy, didn't control the game as much as they wanted, probably wanted a little bit more possession and aggression out of the side. So I imagine they'll be looking to come and punch us in the mouth, to be honest.
And just finally seeing so many fans here, it's going to be another great occasion at the Etihad for the women's team today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, and I hope, we just keep seeing more people pile in as the game kind of gets closer and closer to kickoff. But there's nothing better than a special occasion on a beautiful, immaculate pitch like the one behind us. I remember as an ex-player playing here a couple times, and you just think, it's great to be able to share the same pitch as the men and, put on a fantastic spectacle for the spectators as well.
Karen, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Earlier on this week, we caught up with Kerolin and asked her about how she's settling in with life at City and how she's found it facing one of our rivals so many times in a row. Here she is now.
Kerolin, thank you for coming to speak to us today. How have you found the past week or so working with Nick?
Well, I think, it's really new. It's happened so fast. And he was here for 2 trainings to us be ready to the game. So we really like him. I think the energy he brought, the style of the play, I think it's great. But I think we just need to time to get into and also do into the game. But I think also last weekend show we are able to do it and to win games. And I think we just need to focus on some details to prepare and be ready and then win the games.
And as was mentioned in the press conference, he's obviously said some really nice things about you regarding your attitude and your work rate. Does that give you sort of an extra confidence boost, especially going into the game at the weekend?
Well, I think always it's nice to have some feedbacks, and I'm really thankful about this, and I'm going to keep working, and of course makes me feel free to be in the game, be ready and do my things and help the team the way I can help.
And going into the weekend, what would it mean to you to represent Manchester City at the Etihad?
It's really special. I think if you look for our journey, we love to play football in a nice stadium where people can come and watch, the fans can be supporting us, and special like in the big stadium. It's like really that dream. So I think now just have the opportunity and be ready and enjoying the game.
And how important is it to have the chance to play at such a big stadium on a more regular basis as well?
I think it's a win for the women's football. We're really happy with that. I think it needs to happen more and more, because at the end it doesn't matter a lot if it's women's or men's. Football is only one, so we're really happy, excited, and also women's play really well football. So it's a nice opportunity to show up this and just enjoy the football again.
And finally, you've already become a really popular player with the fans. What has their support meant to you so far?
I mean, I think it's lovely to be where like people love you and supporting you, defend. It's really amazing. Thank you so much for the support. And I think it's special like when it's a new player and the fans, the players, the team, like it's like hugging you, makes me feel really like comfortable. How can I say? Como posso dizer confortável?
Confident.
Confortável.
Comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable and lovely, and I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We are in the third instalment of our 4-game series against Chelsea, but I want to take a look back at the previous games. Let's start with the League Cup. Sadly lost 2-1. Was you impressed with the display still from City?
Yeah, very. I don't think there was any shame in that performance or the result. I think we were unlucky. I think the 2 goals from Chelsea, you do need a bit of luck sometimes in football, and it was definitely on Chelsea's side that day, but the fact that Nick had just come in that week and got the team into that position. Also made a big call, dropping Jess Park from the starting lineup. She's had a great game the week before, and Buffagino coming in, you know, she'd been on fire before she got injured, obviously got the goal, so. But yeah, Nick's also made big decisions in these past 2 games, and they've worked. But yeah, this one, you know, Yamashita just ricochets back off her. She actually makes a great save initially. And City were the better team at the time. This was totally against the run of play. Little switch off there, but that's what Chelsea can do as well, especially someone like Ramirez, you know, half a yard, half a chance, and they can punish you. But I do think, you know, City were the better team. They were on the front foot, they were pressing, the energy levels were there. And yeah, I mean, they didn't get the result in the end, but definitely a performance to work on.
It's just one of them things, it's like when football's not going, like it just goes against you. And I mean, you see it here
even
now
then,
with the
own
own goal. It's, everything was there, but when the omens are against you, there's not much you can do to stop it almost, right? Then?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need a bit of luck, especially in a cup final, but I will say that I think the pitch made such an impact on that game, and I know it's been spoken a lot about across, you know, loads of different networks over the past week, but it does have an impact, and City are a footballing team and want the ball on the ground, and when you're having to think about an extra touch or, you know, taking more time on decisions because of the pitch, that's really disappointing. It can slow things down, but despite that, this by far still the better footballing team on the day. And the one thing I think Chelsea tipped them to was adapting to the pitch. They went longer a few times, and that's ultimately they're more forward thinking and to get the goals in that sense. But honestly, I think the 2 performances from City, I was actually buzzing for them that they got the result midweek, because I think at the weekend they were really gutted to not.
Before we move on, I just need to talk about Fagino's goal, because it was unbelievable. Like, let's take a look at that now, because that was of the highest order. Like,
and she needs it,
Chef's
I think she has been putting in brilliant performances, but she's been creating, but she needed this goal. And I don't even think anyone was expecting her to shoot. The angle was so wide. She takes that extra touch, and I think it catches Hannah Hampton by surprise as well. But what a strike. There's some power in that.
Not in the squad today, unfortunately, but how important is it getting a goal? Like, when you've put in the performances, but you need that goal, especially as an attacker, like, do you need it? Is that like a big confidence boost?
Yeah, 100%. It plays on your mind, and each game that goes by, you know, you're made more aware of it. I think 1 or 2 games you're fine, you know, we haven't scored, but then it starts to play on your mind a lot. But as I said, it didn't affect her performances. She was always, you know, chipping in for the team, assists, creating. A link up with Viv was really good, and she just needed that goal, and now unfortunately she's injured again, so it's a shame. And I think the key for Nick now is to keep these players fit, definitely with such a busy schedule ahead.
I'm going to go super cliche from my coaching days and say, like, you learn more in your losses, right? And then I feel going into the Champions League, you like that one?
Yeah, I was saying, that is good.
Going into the Champions League, do you think Nick adapted and then the team had learned from the losses? The loss, sorry, not the losses.
Yeah, I think that's again, I'll go back to Nick's information and the way he gets things across, and you feel so organised in terms of structure when you step out into the pitch. Under Nick, you know exactly how you're going to build up, you know exactly how they're going to press, and at the other end of the pitch as well, for Toni as a striker, she knew exactly how to press a team, and it worked. And I think that's what was so good for City midweek. They looked organised, they looked energised, full of confidence, which they could take. And I think he's a very positive coach as well, right? He's never overly negative. He knows what it takes to go and win, and I think that's what he's instilled in this team.
It could be a bit of a dagger in the heart for Chelsea. Like, the Champions League is the one they always seem to be chasing, and then for City to come back and strike back in that, like, that's going to be tough for them, right?
Yeah, I think everyone was shocked by the results, and I think Chelsea have made it clear, and I think it plays on their minds, Chelsea as well, that they haven't won the Champions League. They've been to the final, but they haven't won it, and I think that's the one Emma Hayes wanted to get over the line, and I think that's what Sonia's been brought in to do. You know, she's previously won it as a player and a manager, so she is the best person to do this, and I think these players are so desperate, but sometimes desperation can make you make errors, and as I say, I don't think many people would have been expecting that result, but it takes nothing away from the performance from Manchester City, because, as Beat said, they were organised, Nick had them ready for that game, and they deserved the result.
Do you think it'll be different? Do you think it'll be a different setup to what we saw in the Champions League? I know the squad's obviously different, but like you said, you knew what Nick was doing, you knew what you were going to do as a player. Do you think we'll see something different today? Again, it's like 3 different games, 3 different competitions, 3 different surfaces.
Well, do you mean like formation and structure and stuff like that? Yeah, no, we were actually talking off air as well. Like, it's been a number of years since we've worked with Nick, and of course in our days at City, in those times, we were very structured. We rarely changed our formation. Yes, we may have changed the way we pressed and we build up, but formation didn't necessarily change, not as far as I can remember either. But I would love to know that, you know, if he does change an aspect of that, that's his progress as a manager and his adaptability, because I think that's something Chelsea definitely do. You know, they've been more inclined to go 3 back in previous seasons, and we've seen that multiple times before. But City are not known for that. They're known for staying in their structure, keeping this exact same shape. It doesn't change much. But I'm wondering if Nick might do that.
Well, he actually did do it in the Champions League game in midweek. He went from a 4-2-3 in the first half to a 4-4-2, and I think people were surprised at that as well, but it worked. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, definitely today, and going into the next Champions League game, you know, there's going to have to be some adapting, because do you want to protect the result? Do you want to keep playing how you're performing? Does it go off the back of what happens today and the personnel that you have available? But yeah, I think Chelsea have been very good in the past at being adaptable, and I think that's why they're so difficult to play against. You don't know who's going to play, where they're going to play, the style they're going to play, and I think that's a great superpower to have.
Absolutely. Today, Man City Esports have the opportunity to make history and be the first organisation to go back-to-back and be champions of the E-Premier League.
You can't argue they've invested well coming into this season, picking up 2 top names.
Tex, welcome to Manchester City.
Matías, bienvenido al Manchester City. I think it's the biggest and best club in esports, and they take it the most seriously.
No, la verdad que ser parte de Manchester City Esports es una locura, es uno de los clubes más grandes del mundo y estoy muy contento de estar acá.
Last time we were undefeated.
Manchester City!
We competed against the best.
One more pass, Marcus Rashford! Oh, one more pass that no one saw, only tested. Front post, Manchester City! Tex has arrived in the Champions League. Front post, Musiala with Didier Drogba.
Bullet driving into the box.
In that dangerous area, and he's just made it look so simple. Matías Bonano is on a rampage at the moment for Manchester City. Well, DreamHack's been a champion on the road to the Esports World Cup.
But just fell short.
He's got a target on his back every single game he goes in. It's the biggest game of their season when they play against Man City.
JP Slater could be about to pull Tex down with him. Man City are out to send himself into an E-Champions League. That's heartbreaking. In the 92nd minute. King of the jungle, maybe. Back in business. 7-4. And finds Colin time green. Cristiano Ronaldo, of all people on the pitch. There's one back. It's got 4 in-game seconds. Tex has to score. Misses! And it's heartbreak for Manchester City Esports.
It was painful. We learn from the losses. We know what we are. We are the reigning champions. We fight to the end.
Hold on, is Tex about to go 3-1 up? Yes, he is. Oh, I love that from Tex. That's glorious.
When it comes to composure and belief in ability, Matthias is definitely one of the highest players that have the belief in themselves.
On a global level, he has been splendid.
Matthias has been the most impressive player we've seen so far.
He's back to winning ways.
You're playing Tex, you know, you're a bit nervous and there's aura.
Matthias Renano is absolutely flying here.
Manchester City look to top the group here in the Premier League. Top of the table again. It's never in doubt, was it? They'll be on their way to a quarter-final. And it's just a little small for Matthias Renano.
We will defend our crown. We are back.
Ethan, we come in.
Everyone at Man City wishes Tex and Matty the best of luck, and you can follow along on X at Man City Esports and on our Snapchat. And if you want to watch all the matches live on the EA Sports FC Twitch channel throughout. Okay, guys, the music's on. We're getting very, very close. Final thoughts. What do you think? What does City need to do to win this game, Jen?
Honestly, keep confidence from their previous games. Know that if they turn up physically and match them in terms of intensity of this game, they're the better footballing team. So if they match that, they can go on and beat this team again.
Toni, what about you? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. I think the first minutes of the game are key. I think City have struggled in the past games, you know, in the big games, the Manchester derby here, the one against Arsenal, conceding early. I think staying in the game is important because I do think Chelsea are going to come out all guns blazing after losing the first game of the season. I know the mentality of them players, they will hate that they've lost to them. So, although there is a lot of pressure on City because they need that result. So, I'm so intrigued to see how it pans out. I actually can't call them. I'm thinking in my head now about the score prediction because I know it's coming. You're going to ask me and I can't call it.
Right, so we've digested the team. Don't worry, I'll give you a little bit more time. We've digested the team. Who is going to be the stand-up player? Who can really be like, this person's going to be the difference maker?
Well, I think Miedema off the back of her, you know, previous performances, but then also been so impressed by Kerolin. So I think if those two are firing in the front line and really dictate the press in their final third, but then can be creative and go and score goals, I think those two, I'm excited to watch them today.
And Toni, what about yourself?
I agree, Kerolin. I'd like to see more of her. Obviously, she had an opportunity in midweek and I think she took it with both hands, so I'm really excited to see how she does today. I think also, you know, Chelsea's bench in the second half, see how people come on. I think Agibeva Jones the other day played brilliant, although Chelsea lost 2-0. And I think she's been itching for that chance because I think she gets it in the cup games or maybe against weaker opposition, but to get it against Manchester City, I do think she took it. I think she caused us some problems. So I think she could be key for Chelsea again today.
Right, we have got kick-off moments away. So we're going to go to comms where one of your old friends, Karen Bartley, is joined by Nick Walsh, and that is on the Man City app. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Toni, and to Jen. So Manchester City having exacted revenge for their Women's League Cup final defeat by Chelsea, with victory in the Champions League in midweek, will now look to put a dent in Chelsea's hopes of a 6th straight Women's Super League title with a win here at the Etihad Stadium as tension turns back to domestic matters. And as you were hearing from the guys, it's the 3rd straight leg of a blockbuster 4-timer between the two Women's Super League heavyweights. It is actually, as well, the first time Manchester City have hosted Chelsea at the Etihad Stadium in the Women's Super League. That all-important team news then. 4 changes for Manchester City. Laura Coombs makes her first Women's Super League start of the season, lines up against her old club this afternoon. Spent 6 seasons at Chelsea, 2015 League and FA Cup double winner. Naomi Lazelle also starts for the first time since the 2-1 win at Tottenham. Viv Miedema rewarded for her midweek heroics in the Champions League, and Chiara Keating returns in goal. It's actually Chiara's first start since the 4-3 home defeat by Arsenal on February 2nd. That means Chiara Keating replaces the injured Ayaka Yamashita, not involved in the Matchday squad. Mary Fowler, Lily Murphy and Leila Wahabi drop to the bench. It will be Chiara Keating in goal, Kirsten Cashbright, Gracie Pryor, Leah Alejandre, Naomi Lazelle, Yui Hasegawa either side, Jill Roord, and Laura Coombs. Up top, Viv Nedemar either side, Kerolin Nicoli and Jess Park. There are 6 changes for Chelsea. Myra Ramirez, Erin Cuthbert, Kira Walsh, Sandy Baltimore, Natalie Bjorn and Katerina Macario drop to the bench. Ashley Lawrence, Vika Compton, Johanna Rittin-Kanerid, Maika Hamano, Ariane Jean-Francois and Neve Charles come into the starting lineup. We think a 4-2-3-1 formation for Chelsea, as is the standard template for their lead coach Sonia Bompastor. So Hannah Hampton in goal. We think a back four of Lucy Bronze, Ashley Lawrence, Millie Bright and Neve Charles.